Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about AI jobs of tomorrow. So let's dive deep into it. Now let's ground ourselves first. So AI is real, AI is here and it's now. Now what does that mean? That simply means we have crossed the transition period. Basically, there was a time when Motorola made the first brick phone. That was the transition period because before it, you could not do a call anywhere from the world. You could do that after that. So right, there was a before and after. Same happened with iPhone, like before iPhone and after iPhone. So things like that has happened. Now I'm not talking about the competency of AI. I'm talking we have crossed the threshold whether AI could be a thing to AI is a thing, is just not very good. Basically it's early stage of smartphones or mobile phone if for that matter. So train has left the station. Let that be very clear. At this point in time, anybody is telling you is like, oh no, it's just a hype and all that. No, we crossed that. We crossed that long ago, and it is factually true that it is going through a boom period. But here's the deal: even though it will go through that bust period very soon. Now, soon is trademark. I do not know. That soon could be 5 years from now. It could be 15 years from now. I do not know when that soon is. However, it's not going to die away. For example, this is a graph from 1995 to 2023. Now here's the you must have heard some big things. Big event happened that in tech, like dot-com bubble. This was NASDAQ. That happened in 2003. Now here's the people's perception of tech at that point in time in 2003 was like it's a bust. Again, we had the boom early 2000 and then we had the bust in 2003. So people were like, yeah, dot-com it's a gimmick, it has no actual value and all that. Here's the deal. If that time, if you have talked to people, it's like, bro, you know which company would be the highest value company on the goddamn freaking planet? It would include things like Google, which does not practically have a physical hardware. People were like, what are you smoking? Meta would be a thing. What are you smoking, my man? 2003, not that far ago. I was alive, not that far ago. Now here's the assume you are someone who actually bought NASDAQ at this point, this super duper high price. You're like, okay, I have lost everything. Short duration? Yes. Long duration? Nah, my man. You start from here and you slowly wait to 2015, actually 1600. Huh. Somewhere around 2015 and voila, your value is up. Now imagine if you were smart boy in 2003, you bought Google and Amazon and all that. You'll be like, so same thing, boom and bust happened but did not affect the overall data. It always happens the same way. 2008 market crash, nothing. Zoom out, a man. Like if you ever wondered how millionaires only go even richer, it's just that zoom out a bit, it only goes up, number only goes up, but you have to zoom out. It's not a short-term game. If you're like, I'm gonna buy today and sell tomorrow, yeah, you're dead. If I'm like, I'm gonna buy today, when are you gonna sell? After 10, 15 years, 25 years, 35 years, 50 years, profit. So, and be mindful, there is a little bit of little dip that happened in, Corona period. That's just a little dip now. So be mindful. Anybody is like, AI is a fad? No. Of course, it's going to go through what we call overheating and cool down period. Overheating, too many companies are coming in. Then there will be a cool down period where it's like, okay, the majority of those companies cannot be actually be profitable. Those will poof off. And then we're going to have a normal growth period like after 2003. It will be normal chill. It's not a fad. Do not make that mistake. It's not a fad. We have crossed that lexicon, so to say, where it's like that checkpoint has been crossed. So it will not die. Now, why is that? Well, here's the deal. There is real monetary value to be had if you can harness AI properly and crime-wise. So why do you think crypto is so functional? Well, it's the best money laundering tool available at this point in time. Where do you think the millions and millions and millions of dollars are happening? Money laundering. So crime part sorted. The real value, it's difficult to extract, but it is there. And that's why this guy went from nobody to everybody talking about it. How the heck that happened? Lexicon changed. So it's a very serious thing. Now, that's on the right now, right? Like, right now, what we know in 2024. Now, what about the meta layer, right? So basically what internet is, the ability to communicate with each other at light speeds. Now, meta potential of something is something that is very hard to discern. Like you have to just go in all imagination because here's the everybody's like, oh yeah, it does not have that. All the analysts, all the business people is like, oh, this is like, dude, where were you 5 years ago? Where were you before ChatGPT 3.5? Nowhere. You cannot predict some things. If at that point you are talking about meta layer. Meta layer is just raw imagination. Now, on principle, what is AI? AI is basically this put into a silicon. Basically, you take this, dump it into this, a silicon chip. Nothing more than that. So that's all we are doing. Now, what is the meta importance of that? Well, fundamentally speaking, it could be classified as what we call the last innovation or last research. Now, it has that level of meta potential. Will we reach that? I do not know. But potential is there. That will be very clear. Potential is there. Like same way, in 2003, you could not have sold Google stocks even if you wanted to, but there was potential. So same happened with AI. Right now, there is potential. There is meta potential. I do not know who will master it, who will yield it, but there is material there. There is gold there. It's just that question of extraction. So flat out, fundamentally, do not discard AI at this point in time. Understand it, calibrate it, and it will have an effect. Let that be very clear. It will have an effect. Of course, there will be a cool down period. Buy as much AI as that point in time. Be that 2003 moment and then swim upwards. Now, first sector where is going to be like you will live long enough, as in like you will remember this video kind of long enough. Call centers. Now here's the deal. Why call centers? There are certain kind of jobs that we need it. We respect that it is needed. We respect the people who do it, but we don't want to do it. If like your child comes to you, it's like, Papa, I want to be a sewage cleaner. You will be like, Ish. You get it. Like somebody has to do it. More than enough men do it. That's why we have the planet. But you get the point. It's not like, It's not like doctor or engineer. You get the point. So same is with call center employees. It's like, yeah, you can do it. And people do it. We do need it. It's just that nobody wants to do it, and nobody wants to pay for it. For example, imagine you are HP or Dell. You are paying these people, and again, you also have to pay for the replacement that you have to do. So you are like double paying. It's like I have this in case somebody wants to do a replacement. You get the point. Like people do not want it anymore. Like from a corporate point of view, from a company's point of view, you don't want to pay for these people. These people do not want to be here, and they do not get enough money anyway. And here's the ironic part. It's needed 24/7 worldwide. So yeah, that creates a very exploitable scenario. So what does that mean? That simply means any smart politician, again, that's an oxymoron to say, but you get the point. Any smart businessman, they can claim to the people, do you really want your child to be, working in call center? Most parents will say no. Here's the deal. So why you are screaming at when I'm removing this job? Who will remember that there are more than 100,000 people working in this sort of field and auxiliary fields of that? So if you remove that much, the cascade failure of that sort of job loss is significant. But nobody can stop it because it's an ugly job. Nobody wants to do it. So that's the first aspect. Another is call centers have this ironic benefit. Now, there was a company known as IBM. They did try to make basically a bot, a doctor bot, so to say, AI, a Watson AI. Now, it's supposed to, act in a doctor's group and help them predict things before it happens, basically pre-diagnostic, so to say. And problem was, IBM did not have access to medical data. Now, problem with that is like if you do not have medical data, you have to make medical data in order to train the AI. They made it. That's why the predictions were lol. So in lab testing, it was like awesome. The moment they brought it into real world, it was like, what the hell are you recommending? It's almost like Theranos. So that's why it did not work. However, ask any AI companies like, hey, I want to hire your AI to do things. They will, the first thing they'll say, what sort of training data you have. Ironically, call center is one of those things that they have training data from the earliest moment of their creation, because many places they had issues. So how do you solve that issue? You bring out the recording in the court, and that's why you call any call center. They say that this call will be recorded for quality and assurance purposes and this and that. So they have records. Now you may be like, do they actually have that much record going that back further, let's say like 1990s? Short answer, if they are even remotely smart, yes. And because be mindful, once we have invented MP3 formats, even one DVD can easily store 1 day of system. And imagine, again, you have thousands of people recording every day. That does become a lot of things. So where do you store it? Tape drives. Like this is how our servers are backed up in the first place. So if company wanted to, if they had brains, they would have saved it. And again, some scenarios they are required by law to save it. So these things are rated for 15 years of lifespan. So data is there. Precisely, perfectly one vector data. Audio comes in, audio goes out, nothing else. Exactly what's supposed to be done. Perfect, precise training data. No other field has this sort of exact luxury. Nothing. There is no 3 dimension. There is just one vector, audio. So that is fundamental, and it's legal, meaning there is no lawsuits or like somebody doing this. Nope, there is a nope to it. So it's data, training data is available, and it's legal. So that creates a very tantalizing, what you call fertile ground, so to say. And we are already used to phone tree. Like, have you ever wondered, like you pick up a call and it's like, okay, हिंदी के लिए 1 दबाएं, press 2 for English and 3 for Spanish and whatever have you. So how does that work? That works on phone tree. So phone trees are generally called IVRs. So basically you press it, it creates a tone, the IVR on the other end pricks it and then does it. We are used to it, right? We are used to machine talking to us just so we can reach to a person. But here's the deal, what if machine talked like a human? And this experience happened to me just yesterday when my health insurance is expiring. So they called me, it's like, okay, is it a good time to talk? Like, this is a person in English. Again, it's a bot. I'm just saying it's a lady in English talking to me. It's like, is it a good time to talk? Now, here's the deal. I did not answer yes or no. I simply said, yeah, just send me the bill on my WhatsApp. It understood that. It's a advanced phone tree. It understood that. And this happened in India yesterday. So yeah, and be mindful, I just realized there are companies that are selling this service as of today. Now, we have not reached this point where this is gone. Not there yet. But after large language model came to be, after AI training data became a thing, this is gonna happen. Meaning you're gonna live long enough, you're gonna remember this, and it's gonna be like, oh, back in the day we used to have AIs. Now, does that mean all of these jobs will go away? Hell no. Every company will first limit the expansion, then they will shrink it, then shrink it some more, then they will have few people rotating like 3 shifts a day, because again, you do want somebody there. And if you have the luxury of paying a lot of, instead of a lot of people, a few people, you can pay them more, and you can have them like, in 24/7 cycle. So that's a tangible advantage. Even if this workforce and the server cost of AI is same, the fact that server cost can easily work 24/7, that's just like shut up, take money. Instead of call from Monday to Friday, from 5 a.m., no, not 5 a.m., let's say 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Instead of that, call whenever you want. So, and again, even if you have to pay a boatload of money, because you will save so much, you can be like, hey, let's have few people cycling, so we have always somebody healthy ready to go. So this will happen. Let that be very clear. The train has left the station. We are expecting at least 5 to 10 years before we'll start to notice it. 15, 20 years later, there used to be a job like this. So this is here. And again, money is there to be made. That's why it's happening right now. Then we come to the translation part. Now, it's not as sexy as you would think, but here's the deal. Our world has way too many goddamn active languages. Meaning, if you go to CIA, it's like, bro, I want to be CIA spy. They're like, yeah, you're gonna need to master some languages. Now, because they have spy network everywhere, they have a kind of very good grasp on the things, what kind of languages you need to know. So, English, Mandarin, Hindi, Spanish, French, by popularity, so to say. Basically, if you took a dice, rolled it randomly through it, what is the likelihood of you will hit any of these? Most likely someone. Like, you will hit one of these languages. Now, be mindful, the reason why English is so high is not because of English native speaker, it's just that bonkersly large amount of people know English as a second language. So that's why all other languages are so little compared to English. It's just like almost everybody knows English as a second language. Heck, English is my second language. So Hindi is huge, Mandarin is huge, but all other nations like Spanish, French, things of that nature. So we need to port data, a lot of data from one language to another. Now, it could be text, it could be audio, it could be a video. So it's a thing, right? There is a demand for it. There is bonkersly, a complexity to it. And be mindful, UN, United Nations, they pay a bonkersly large amount of money just for translation services. I have linked the video down below. You can see like it's a complex operation where everybody just like, have it and be like, okay, I can hear it. 6 languages there. I was a bit disappointed that Hindi was not there. It was like Arabic is there. I'm like, Arabic is like, I think 2 steps below. So why the heck Hindi was not there? It's like, oh, OPEC has that. And I was like, Russia is even lower than that. Why the Russia is there? Oh, nuclear power. It's like, we India really need something like, I don't know, brain power. It's like, so oil power is there, nuke power is there. We are not there. We need to upgrade ourselves. So all the 6 languages they have as a main language. So we need to port data. And again, it's a serious thing. It's a compulsory requirement, and we pay a lot of money for it. Now, here's the deal. Why it's so complex? If translation is such a big deal, people must have been trying to do this in 1990s. Yes, we have been. Problem is, language is what we call contextually aware element, meaning without the context of what is being said and without you having the basically awareness already, it will not work. You cannot just convert words from one language to another. It will not work without actual awareness. So again, contextual awareness I'm talking about, but you need that. So that creates a perfect breeding ground for AI. Meaning if you can provide contextual awareness, AI is like, I got you, fam. Now, to give you a context of it, this is a movie, The Fall. Now, here's the deal. They wanted to release it. This is a small studio movie, so they wanted to release it everywhere. They're like, okay, let's dub it. Now, dubbing is done in 2 grades. First grade is you just change the audio. You mute the English audio, and then you just like play the local language. It sounds horrible. I have no idea how the heck they do not have a slot where it's like, hey, this whole audio channel, you have action voice, then you have the volume, then you have the SFX, musics and all that. Just remove this channel. It does not work. Like I've never seen, even in modern Apple foundation, I have not seen audio, like audio level is always wrong. It never feels like it was integrated. It always feels like they just added it. So that's cheap translation. Then you have a bit more expensive translation where people actually go there and based on the phoneme structure of the language you are talking about, this part, phoneme structure, change the lip movements for that. Now that requires a very tedious process. They are like, what if we AI'd it? This is a movie, real, in theaters. Again, it's out of theaters now, but you get the point. Like they changed it from Japanese. They even did something very naughty, which I am not happy with, but I get it. It was 18+ rating where they're like beep, 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 beep. And then they had like PG-13 where it's like, freak, freak, freak. I'm like, I see what you did there. I see, but I'm like, but I get the point. Like they did that. There is also a German movie they were talking about like they needed to convert too many things. So they actually did a full-fledged AI face replacement algorithm for that. It's here. It's already there where people are like, hey, instead of manually doing it, what if we did by AI? Now, let's be very clear. AI is not 100% not yet. This can only be like 90% automated. But here's the deal. 15 years ago, nobody would have believed you. Now, it's like we're almost there. And again, that last 10% is not there because you need to. It's just like, it just clicks little off, just a little bit. So we reached that point and people are paying for it. So it's a paid service. There is a requirement, and be mindful, this can be done on your computer itself. It does not require a server. They have already trained data and all that. So if you have 4090, they're like, I got this. Heck, I can do it. I have 4070 Ti. So again, 12 GB VRAM would be a bit limiting, but it can be done. It will take time, but it will be done. So there is a lot of money to be had from translators to converters. I could easily see 15 years from now, we just have a world where you're watching a movie and it's just like, hey, I do not understand the language. Computer, translate the language. It's like, I got this. And then it gives you a warning. Do you want subtitle or do you want like, the whole audio to be translated? That's doable today. So that's a lot of money to be had there. That's why I'm saying AI will cool down, but it will never go away. They changed it to Japanese and all that. It was like very creepily weird. It's like, oh, you can actually just do it. Oh, you did it. I was like, oh, it was done. So translation, boatload of money. Then we come to the most scary part, which people got the first experience for, basic coders. Now, what does this mean, basic coder? Basic coder, you have to understand, coding has complexity to it, right? Now, complexity is not the same. It's almost like when you are writing a letter, the subject of the letter is the most heavy part. But what about the header and the bottom part? It's a copy paste, right? We create a template and we just do the editing on the body. Same thing happens in coding also, because again, many times they're like, okay, I have this block, this block, this block, this block, these things are pre-done, this are like your templates and all that. But again, somebody has to do it. So it's a grunt work. And again, that's how juniors start. Company will not give you, oh, we are working in MasterCard, this is the whole core encryption that we are running on. It's like, of course, they will not let you there in day one. You're gonna work up to it. So there is always a ratio of 80-20%, which we generally call, it's almost there. It's Pareto distribution, so to say. So there is 80% of grunt work, 20% of smart work. And your 20% of employees are capable of dealing what we classify as talents, meaning take whatever company, whatever size. Generally, there will be 20% of people who are the talent, meaning the management especially takes care of to make sure they are happy. If management does not do that, that company is running on thin ice. And many companies have collapsed because they did not realize that 20%, even though a number, they are like, hey, this is just 1%. If I eat this 1%, who cares? It's like, you eat that, your company collapses. Has happened. So talent. Now, here's the deal. Talent people are like, they're a bit different from average people. Average people is like, I go there, I work, I make money so I can feed my children. Now, talented people is like, I get work. It's like, that's not an issue for me. I can make money. That's not an issue. Give me a challenge for it. So they need that. So they enjoy the working into that 20%, where it's like genuinely hard. How do I compress a, whole game into 3 GB of available RAM? They're like, that's good. I'm going to work on it. That's awesome. They love it. They live for it. But they do not like the grunt work. And again, company also do not want to pay that much money to someone just to do grunt work. So junior employees. Now here's the deal. Junior employees do not get paid a lot and companies dislike paying for grunt work. So AI automation. Now, because again, these things are also context sensitive, you cannot just like, I'm going to make a basic algorithm or copy paste or template. It needs intelligence. Now, here's the deal. This comes with the same benefit as call centers. All the data that you created in a company generally is the property of the company. Unless you have very specific signed agreement, most of the time, the company owns the work that you created. So it knows what to give to AI in order to create a proper AI. Meaning, you can take ChatGPT. Take ChatGPT 3 directly the core and create a clone of it in Amazon, Azure, not Amazon. Azure, yeah, you can do that in Amazon also, and train based on your own company's data. You can get a much more precise, exactly what I need, how I need it, when I need it. That can be done. Today it can be done. So data is company's property, so company can do that. And why would company want to go through this level of hassle? Well, the reality is that employees, right, the workforce is single biggest volatile expenses. Meaning, again, companies have reached a scenario where it's like, because be mindful, companies are not company anymore. Companies are just like, I take money from the market, number go up. They have become like that. So there is no ownership to it. So there is no passion. So there is no logic to it anymore. There is no steering wheel. So it will like, how could Google throw away this advanced neural network system because it was not making money? And they just throw it. And the other people are like, what the hell? This is an open source project. Take the money, amplify the money. And Google is like, oops. They were so ahead in automated self-driving car. And again, the original people who were running Google, they were always very smart, because again, it was their passion project. So they were always planning 10 steps ahead. But because money did not go up in 5 seconds, you bad people, you fire. So that thing happens. So again, companies have reached a point where they no longer want to be company. They just want to be like, money comes in, money go up. So for that kind of people, they do not want volatility. They want like clean, stable money go up. AI is perfect for that. AI actually removes all the grunt work. So instead of 80% of your people would be grunt workers, 20% would be needed, and majority would be done by your AI. And again, you will still retain your top GG talents. So your company will work. Now be mindful, people like, oh, it can't do any advanced codings and all that. Hey, still, you have to understand the AI versions that you and I have access to versus AI version that an inside job will have, especially if it's trained with that inside knowledge, it would be on a whole different level. Like for example, this is a project that I'm working on. I have ESP32 controlling for fans. Here's the deal. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what coding is, but I literally wrote the code. I got it working based on ChatGPT. Now, imagine that same ChatGPT, how it's doing right now. I ask it, it gives a code. I copy paste the code into Android IDK. Then Android IDK runs the system, gets the error message. Then I copy paste the error message, and then it's like, okay, fix this and all that. Now here's the deal. Imagine if it was integrated. This whole process will happen in minutes, not days, not hours, which it takes me to like copy paste and all that. Because again, it's a big block thing. It would be horrifying how quickly it can go from, oh, you made this, here's the code, take it and go. It's like, okay, let me run it. 1 hour later, it's like, okay, done. Code is done. Fully cooked, fully ready, bug-free. It can be done today. Again, microcontroller, small thing, but here's the, that's how it starts. There was a company that literally did the same thing. It's like AI-based coder. And it was like, the whole point was completely integrating it. Basically, the feedback loop was there. So a lot of smart programmers are like, dude, I need to feed my children. If you are doing this, and be mindful, 5 months ago, nobody would have believed you. 5 years ago, people would have laughed at you. They're like, bro, pass the joint. Now it's like, it's a thing, it's doing things. So anybody who can see things, how far things can go, and especially the meta layer of it, they're like, yeah, this is not going to end well for us. Unless you are best of the best of the best of the best of the best. Yeah, it's not going to end well for you. So basic coders, they're going to be on the chopping block very soon. So if you are in this field, yeah, be very good, like best of the best of the best of the best. Otherwise, you will not get the opportunity to even learn. So they're like, bro, what you can do, I have a grunt AI, and be mindful, 5 years from now, the computers would be a bit more efficient, the codes would be refined, feedback loop would be tightened. The moment that happened, feedback loop being tightened, yeah, sorry. At that point, all I can say to you is sorry. Now, the good news. So far, the bad news, some good news. The girlfriend AI. Now, here's the deal. AI is very expensive. At this point in time, this is what every analyst is saying. that AI takes $600 billion to run. What services can actually pay $600 billion? Now again, call centers and all that, again, there's some billion. Other stuff, translation, again, 1 or 2 billion here and there. Coders, yeah, that's a lot of money. That's like at least hundreds of billion, but not like, trillion kind of thing. What has trillion? Girlfriends. Now, history. So what does that mean? AI requires way too much. Unless you pay for it, you do not have economically viable. So how do you make something economically viable? You cannot send it for free. You cannot have a low cost on it. So like Google is running on ads, right? Now, AI cannot actually run on ads. Like, think about it, like truly think about it. The first thing if you do that is like, hey, this gives you the ad that you want. It's like, it would be just a selling agent. It would be like annoying neighbor you have that's like, that keeps trying to sell you into, multi-level marketing. So AI cannot truly work with, ad revenue, so to say. So here's the deal. It requires cost. That be very clear. It cannot be cheap. It cannot be free. It requires cost. So only then you can be economically viable. Now, good thing is, the reason why we are talking girlfriend, not a boyfriend, is that men make money for mating purposes. There is no other reason for men to make money. Of course, there is some amount of money you need to survive. But if you remove the mating part of it, or like what we call herbivorous men, you don't need that much money. It's like, bro, I don't need money. It's like, why work my ass off just so I can rot and die if I could just like chill my life? It's like, that's the whole point. That's why we make money. And another aspect, we are used to paying. We're used to paying. So if it's like, there is a whole saying that's like, how do you judge a woman? Here's, it's very simple. Remove money. 5 seconds. Remove money. Just remove money. Nothing else. Just remove money. Nothing else needs to be done. Treat them exactly as they will treat someone who is poor. Actually, don't do that. That's too cruel, but you get the point. So AI needs to be costly. But here's the deal. What is the cost margin here, right? For example, how much you are willing to pay for a smartphone? $1,000? Okay, cool, awesome. $10,000? No. $1 million for a smartphone? Hell no. But that's the whole point of this system. So there is an upper limit. What is this upper limit? Upper limit is wives. Marriage. Now, what does marriage mean? Thankfully for AI companies, marriage equals bankruptcy at this point in time. So everybody who's getting married is getting destroyed in family court. You need proof? Go to family court near you. Do not read articles. Do not read papers. Go to family court near you. 150 country. Take your pick. Anywhere. You need to narrow down the countries, take a birth rate, and any place that has birth rate below 2.1, meaning they are going extinct, go to that family code, which includes every country that you can name, other than Afghanistan and some Chad nations that are in Africa. So yeah, 150 countries, a majority of Earth's population, around 3 trillion, I can just count 3 trillion, is like EU, America, and Russia, India, China, Japan. That includes the majority of the population, so remainder would be a few countries. So you get the point. Basically, it's not a good thing. It's destroying men. And again, it was bound to happen. If you make victimhood profitable, everybody becomes a victim. It's like duh. It's like, oh, you destroyed family unit and you made it profitable, and now you're like, oh no, family unit is surviving. It's like, yeah, you made breaking family unit profitable. You must have heard this news recently of a footballer that like lucked out because he already had everything named on his mom. You know why that story is popular? The girl is a millionaire. Yeah. If a millionaire woman is marrying someone, you should understand, she wants more money. She was trying to get to $1 billion. That's why I said, like, just remove money. Remove money. We are used to it. It's just that now is the point, like, again, that's the same reason why marriage happened for thousands of years and it survived. It built the foundation on which we call family, society, and countries. It's just that nobody was retarded enough back in that day. They were like, hey, break it and we pay you. It's like nobody thought, like, that's the reason why in companies, even if you are being exploited, they only give you one severance package. It's like, bro, eat out of there. And they know, like, it may sound cruel, but it has to be that way. The moment you're like, okay, if you get exploited by a company, now they have to pay for the rest of their life. Every worker will do that. It's like, duh. So that happened. That's why I'm saying, like, go to family court near you. Why? Because your Jordan Peterson is not going to come to you and he's going to pay for your lawyer fees. Go there. I know. I am experiencing it. It takes 4 to 5 years in India just to start the case. So anyway, never be this pathetic. Never be this pathetic. It's like, men are not ATM. It's like, yes, as long as you are staying from women. If you touch a woman, you die. That's natural culling. Nature is like, I have a relative who has same birthday as me, 28 June. He tried one time, got cut off. Tried second time, he got cut off. He's trying the third time. I'm like, bro, don't even contact me. I do not want to know you. So that gives you the upper limit. So what is the upper limit? Upper limit, you may think 50% of your salary. That's not true. That's a woman's logic. So court is like, hey, so we're going to give 50% of your income to her. You're going to pay 30% from the your side to the tax. What is remainder of you? 20%. So AI girlfriend has to be logical enough where they're like, I'm only going to take 10% of your earnings. And yes, it has to be expensive. Only then you can actually run complex enough AI and have in-house training for AIs there where it's actually viable. So that gives you, this is the range. You can take this much and you can take it for centuries without any issue. And that's the only scope where you can, 600 billion is like, bruh. Alimony industry is $3 trillion. Every man, like unless you are Bill Gates or basically, who else rich one? Bill Gates is one rich one, divorced. Jeff Bezos, rich, divorced. Elon Musk, rich, divorced. So you get the point. Basically, if you want money, that's where that is. So any company that is wise enough that can make a girlfriend AI and cost less than what an ex-wife does can easily, easily cross the next $1 trillion company. Easily. It could easily be like same way, like imagine in 1990, if you watch documentary, they're like big oil, big pharma. Now, who is the biggest right now? It's freaking Nvidia. It's Google. Meta. How the heck that happened? We do not know, right? Like back in the 1990s, nobody could have believed you. It was like, oh, you are telling me there would be a company that is larger than oil? What are you smoking, my man? Pass the joint. And it happened. So same thing will happen here. Any company that is good enough and smart enough, they can do it. Now here's the deal. What AIGF needs to do, it's not to exploit you. That's the trickiest part. So majority of companies will fail that will try to do this because it has to be a feedback loop. Like how marriage is supposed to be. Basically, you get married, you both of them, basically, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. So AI has to be basically talented by like a psychiatrist, where AI is like, hey, you have not actually gone out, let's go out, have a walk. You must have seen this in movie Her. That's like he puts it in the pocket and then just travels around. Like he has to do that. Like, wait, let's go to the, just take a walk. Let's improve it. Let's invest some money in Nifty 50. Basically, it's her income should grow like how Snapdragon charges on mobile phone. Snapdragon is like, we take 5% of your mobile phone. Does not matter your mobile phone or what price it is. We take 5% of it. So she has to act like that. Whereas like, okay, instead of just yeeting all the money and asking you to commit suicide, we're gonna be like, hey, you grow, I take a small cut of it. And I take such a small cut, you willingly give it. And again, that's why we are born. That's like from childhood is like, bruh, you gotta take some load. So we know this, we are used to it. That's why we make money. Now, having an AI that is actually taking care of you and dumb level clear. I'm like just making sure that you exercise, making sure you get out of the physical comfort zone. Like, little things, nothing major and groundbreaking. But year over year, people will be like, shut up, take money. So any company that can do that, not just like give everything that it wants, just take as much money as you want. Again, that's a short-term profit. You want long-term, you got to play the long game. So basically any companies that will exploit too much, that are 5-6 companies I've seen, they do not even have a plan for long-term calculations. They are just like, just do it right now, T-relation, and it's like, dude, that's short-term profit. So you want long-term profit, it does not need to be a visual thing. It could be just audio. So, but it needs to improve man's life significantly. And then the moment that happens, like, hey, I had an AI after my first divorce and my life started to improve. I figured things out. I actually went through a court and figured all those things out. And then it's like, okay, bit improved. More people will do it after their first divorce. Then more people will do before getting divorced. They're like, yeah, you get money for crying. Yeah, you're gonna get money. I'm out. So more people will do that. So there is a lot of folks. This field has the most amount of money. Look into how much alimony is being created. Like oil, bruh, alimony, that's where it is. So girlfriend AI, that's why I'm not talking about boyfriend. Yes, there will be some women who will pay for it. Most women will hate it if they have to pay for it. So not good. So this was my presentation on what kind of AI jobs we can expect in the next few years. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.